What if I told you India will be the big winner from Donald Trump's tariff trade war? Not the USA or China. Because while the world's two current superpowers battle it out over chips for AI, tariffs, and treasury sell-offs, India is quietly positioning itself to capture global AI demand through things like smart diplomacy, strategic investment, including Prime Minister Modi's $1.2 billion AI fund, and mind-blowing infrastructure upgrades. India could be the AI superpower that nobody saw coming. In this video, I'm going to tell you about why history suggests trade wars often result in unexpected winners, and why the data points to India as being the biggest beneficiary of Donald Trump's trade policy. When we look at headlines about AI, it's often framed as this epic battle between Silicon Valley and Beijing. This narrative has become so entrenched that we often just think of everybody else as watching from the sidelines, but this could be a drastic oversimplification. Now, while it's true that the USA and China do lead the world in terms of investment in AI, with the USA in 2024 alone attracting a massive $34 billion in investment, this compared to just hundreds of millions in India in the same year. But numbers can be deceiving. What if we're looking at all the wrong metrics? And what if these raw investment totals don't tell you the whole story? It's worth remembering that India has some massive advantages that don't show up in the raw finances, like a huge tech talent pool, very favorable demographics and fertility rates, and a vibrant startup ecosystem. Now, history gives us some interesting context here. Trade wars often don't finish how anybody expects them to. Just look at the last time Trump imposed tariffs on China. The big winners then were countries like Vietnam and Malaysia, as global business sought to reroute its supply chains away from China. These other Asian countries positioned themselves as new manufacturing hubs. This same pattern is now emerging in artificial intelligence, and India is right at the forefront. The US-China trade war is forcing new partnerships in global supply chains, and this creates the space for a player with the economic heft and credibility to step in and offer stability. What's particularly interesting here is how India's apparently weaker position in terms of AI investment might actually turn out to be a strength in the long run, because they're not particularly entrenched in either the US or the Chinese systems. They're able to work with both sides. This gives them the flexibility to plow their own furrow and develop their own approach. This is where Prime Minister Modi's $1.2 billion AI strategy comes in. Far from being a doomed attempt just to catch up, it's actually a calculated and pretty intelligent response to the bubbling tension between the USA and China. By launching the initiative as the trade conflict escalates between the USA and China, India positions itself to capitalize on the decoupling. So while those headline numbers might not seem as impressive, actually there's a far more strategic play going on. Because India's also playing a special card that neither the US or China can claim, which is perfect diplomatic neutrality. Washington and Beijing are raising increasingly hostile language against one another, while Modi's government is able to maintain productive relationships with both. And crucially, he's also maintained good relations with Russia and is able to leverage that relationship to provide cheap energy for the country. This diplomatic balancing act is not just good politics, it's becoming India's secret weapon in the AI race. This strategic flexibility allows India to source talent, investment, expertise from a variety of different sources without being tied up with any individual one. And those energy agreements with Russia deserve particular attention here. Individual deals here are reported to be worth $13 billion. This is not just table stakes. This is not just about keeping the lights on. They are a critical component of India's AI strategy. AI infrastructure, in particular AI data centers, consume a massive amount of energy. It's actually thought to be the main limiting factor on the growth of AI in the USA. It's no secret that China is ramping up nuclear investment massively. A large part of that is because they know they're going to need to power massive data infrastructure. So by securing affordable energy supplies, India is effectively lowering the cost of one of the most critical components of AI. And in an industry where margins matter massively, this cost advantage could prove critical. Just look what's happening with Nvidia. As Trump's tech tariffs force companies to reconsider their global supply chains, Nvidia has established multiple partnerships with Indian companies to build out AI infrastructure and support sovereign AI initiatives. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang has been effusive with his praise for the country several different times, claiming that India is going to shift from being a software exporter to an AI exporter over coming years. That's a massive vote of confidence from probably the most important person in the world in terms of AI infrastructure. These partnerships are not happening by accident. Modi has leveraged that diplomatic neutrality to secure deals with Meta, with Microsoft, with Amazon, and of course with Nvidia. But perhaps the most striking example of this strategy in action is Reliance Industries' gigantic data center. This facility is not just big. It's projected to have a 3 gigawatt capacity, making it the world's largest AI data center. The project is estimated to cost between $20 and $30 billion and is estimated to be completed in about 24 months. What makes this project particularly interesting is its location. It's Modi's hometown, but it's also home to a massive world-class oil refining complex owned by the same company. Are you starting to see the connection now? Yes. The AI data center is going to be part of a massive drive into renewable energy as part of a 5,000-acre estate. They'll be using fossil fuels to power a renewable AI revolution. And this is where it gets really interesting. Reliance plans to use all of this massive energy infrastructure to offer the lowest AI inferencing costs in the world. It's a strategy they've deployed before in telecommunications, and there is literally no reason why it should not be successful now. This cost advantage could prove to be India's real trump card and make it the global destination for AI infrastructure. And these data centers are not just being built to prove theoretical capability. Actually, India has another card up its sleeve, which is a real focus on real-world AI deployment. While it's unlikely that India will catch up with the USA and with China on the most advanced frontier models, frankly, they're just too far ahead. Actually, where the real money is going to be made in AI is in its deployment in the real world. For example, just look at what's happening in the agriculture sector. AI predictive analytics are already helping 260 million farmers reduce water and fertilizer usage by up to 20%. AI drones are also improving pest detection by around 30%, and that of course improves crop yields and helps to feed many more people, ushering in the kind of future that we all want to see from the AI revolution. The healthcare transformation is equally impressive, with AI diagnostic tools reducing misdiagnosis rates for diabetes-related retinopathy by 25%. This is a critical advancement for a country that has apparently 101 million diabetic patients. Just think about how massive that really is. There are other improvements in education. There is a Microsoft partnership that's bringing personalized learning to 6 million students, and small businesses adopting AI workflow automation are already reporting efficiency gains of up to 30%. Perhaps the most significant, though, is how India is integrating AI into its digital public infrastructure. By connecting AI systems with Aadhaar, again, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, which has 1.4 billion users, and UPI, which is processing 14 billion monthly transactions, India can scale AI applications at a pace that would be nearly impossible anywhere else on Earth. So as Trump's global trade war redraws the map, India appears to have been playing a much smarter game than many people realize. Because they're not trying to win the race to build the most powerful models or the most advanced chips. What they're doing is positioning themselves in the middle of all of the maelstrom and just focusing on what matters: delivery, deployment, and maintaining positive relationships with your neighbors. Because now they're positioned to benefit whoever wins the trade war. Frankly, it might be that neither the US or China do especially well, as they're battling with one another over tariffs. But of course, that doesn't matter to India because Modi has found a third path. The real AI winners won't necessarily be those with the most advanced research papers, but those who figure out how to deploy this technology in a way that impacts billions of people every day. And if you want to be kept up to date on how that happens, make sure to hit like and subscribe.